Hello, my dear friends. My name is Dr. Kafi, and I am the lead consultant at Kafi and Associates. In the previous episode of Performance Management Systems Information Series, we asked ourselves why some companies reap the benefits of consistent high performance and why some fall below expectations. The answer to this question lies in science-practice gap. Therefore, it is important to understand this science-practice gap. All the academic models are usually derived from literature or they are based or set in a specific context. Hence, no one model can be termed as a universal model that can fit everywhere, every time, in every organization. Same is the case with performance management systems. They were derived and originated from academic literature in a specific scientific experimental context. For this reason, when some of the models were implemented, they faced a lot of resistance. Further, not all implementation leads to immediate success and productivity. These models are considered to be, by most academics, as long-term goal-oriented. Hence, organizations which are looking for a short-term goal-oriented project and want immediate results will not get very productive results with such methods. This brings us to the paradox of science-practice gap. The scientific academic literature has proved performance management systems to be successful and productive time and time again. This fact was researched and published by many scholars including Emmons, Liston and Jones in 2013, Walker, Davenport and Davies in 2011 and many more like Donald P. Moynihan in 2008. However, companies might get different results to what is being proved and published in literature.
And here's where we stand on stalactites.
This is because the practitioners may be willing to implement exact model mentioned in the literature, but they fail to provide the exact atmosphere, environment and structure that is needed to make that model a success. Hence, it has been witnessed that some firms let go of these models right in the middle of the process because it is not working as productively as proven. For developing countries as well as the organizations in the developing countries, the exact thought needs to be considered. Moreover, whether it is developing countries or a first world country like US, the general perception of the managers and top managers for academic literature is not very encouraging, as found by Pollitt in 2006. Many studies like Hughes and Solar in 1992 clearly state that most managers view academic and practical world as two different dimensions.
Daddy works in a magical, faraway land called academia.
Corporate sector as a practical atmosphere which has little use for academic studies. Hence, while implementing these systems, they do not develop a thorough understanding of the literature, nor do they consult the relevant academia personnel. They implement the system according to their needs and ignore the requirements needed by the performance system itself to be successful. These requirements are mentioned in the literature which are not valued by the managers. Hence, Ignis and Pierce in 2008 very rightly pointed out that before implementing these performance systems, there is a dire need to educate the managers for these models. Ignis and Pierce also said that managers need openness, flexibility and ability to take risks to implement these systems more than the organization. Therefore, these models should not be implemented if significant involvement and keenness of the managers is not there. Otherwise, the results will be disastrous.
I consider myself a responsible worker.
Yes, responsible for almost every screw-up we've ever had.
Managers need to stop looking at the academic world as an abstract paradigm and need to start looking at them as a useful and productive tool. Only then we can hope for the success of these performance systems. Sui and Lai in 2009 said that the world must consider the scholarly world as relevant and practical. Yes, there are certain spheres where the academic world may seem too ideal. but always take into consideration the point that the scholarly or academic material is never without facts, figures, statistical data, and experimental evaluations. Hence, the research by Agnees and Pears in 2008 concludes that without the attitude change of managers towards the academic world, successful implementation should not be expected. Therefore, we can safely say that irrespective of the society or the country or the organization in which performance systems are being implemented, the management as well as the organization must be educated about the performance model.
No student fails who learn.
It is interesting to note that by taking the academia approach, a lot of new approaches have originated, which are now reforming the concept of performance management systems. Evidence found by Smith and Mazin and Smith and Goddard in 2002 suggests that traditionally performance management systems were always viewed as a human resource practice, as the involvement of employees and the welfare of employees were at the core idea. But after extensive studies and the data collected from various organizations' implementation process has suggested that now it is no more a human resource practice, but it now comes under organizational behavior paradigm as suggested by Smith and Goddard in 2002. Hence, over the years, performance systems have now evolved to a much more complex and developed concept which is not limited to one particular department in a firm but connects like a web with all other departments as well.
Please follow Cafe Associates on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn.